Welcome! My name is Kelly.
My name's Jamie.
And this is Fanimated, an animation fan podcast where we get a chance to geek out about our favorite animated media. And today is a Whatcha Watching episode where we're going to talk about what we've been watching recently, what's new, and it's a spoiler-free zone, so everyone is safe here.
It is. You don't have to worry about a thing, because we got you.
We got you. It's all good. Just geeking out. So, Jamie, thank you for being back on the podcast.
Yeah.
Even though we literally in our time just recorded our last episode.
Yeah, that was like 5 minutes ago, yeah.
But to you all, it's been a whole week. Thanks for waiting.
Time is crazy, man. It's weird how that works.
It's crazy. And before we dive into what we've been watching recently, we have a new review from the all-time favorite Spider-Man.
Shoot!
And they say again, hey, me again, Heart, your podcast. I was, wow, I did not read that properly. It's supposed to be like Heart, your podcast, like,
oh, okay.
Love your podcast.
Right.
But with a heart emoji, and
right.
I was like, Heart, your podcast.
Oh, boy.
You know, I'm a professional speaker. It's fine. Spider-Man continues saying,
oh boy.
So my friend and I love Haikyu, and I am watching Haikyu Season 2, Episode 1, and I love all the characters, but Kenma is the cutest little gaming baby ever, though Nishinoya is adorable too. Rolling Thunder! Love your podcast so much.
Oh, that's awesome.
Haikyu, I'm getting back into it. I took a break, and I love all of my volleyball boys.
Oh, man, that is one I've heard so many good things about, but I still haven't gotten to it yet. And I really
Jamie
want
Krause.
to. I really
Jamie
want to.
Krause.
I know
Jamie
I would love it.
You would love this show.
It's been I feel so bad because I have like most of the people I know in my life. There's one or two things that they're like, you know, I recommended this to you years ago, and I'm just like, I know. It's just. There's so much, and I'm so slow.
It's okay. I always say, like, get into piece of media when you're ready to get into it, because you'll have a more enjoyable experience that way. So never feel any pressure. But also, Jamie Krause.
Right.
IQ you're gonna love it. I know it. Oh man. And thank you, Spider-Man, for leaving the review. Everyone, please leave us a rating and review. We love to see them. We love to geek out about them. And Haikyu is also just amazing. So let me gently pressure everyone to go watch it. It's so much fun. It's just an anime, a sports anime, but it feels like a shonen battle anime, but it's about volleyball.
Very serious.
Very serious volleyball players. And I love it, and I love all of our boys. They're great.
Also, I'm just gonna say real quick, I'm a big fan of the name Spider-Man. That's a fantastic name, and I just wanted to point that out. Good job.
Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you,
times.
Spider-Man. Well done. And the other thing I wanted to mention before going into shows that we've been watching and things, there's a new podcast out that I need everyone to know about.
Excellent.
Jamie, I want to know if you know about it too.
Okay.
It's called The English Corner.
Yes! Yeah! Oh, man!
Okay, so here's the thing. Jamie and I went to the same college, and we both studied English literature.
Right.
And we have a few classmates who have recently started a podcast called The English Corner. And what they're doing is they're talking about literature and then talking about all the screen adaptations of these novels and plays. So there's only one episode out so far, and they talk about Romeo and Juliet.
Right. And I believe the next couple episodes are going to be the different famous adaptations. Like one really famous one from like the 60s, West Side Story, and the very much well-known more recent one with Leonardo DiCaprio from like
the 90s.
I don't know,
it's
90s, I think.
Romeo plus Juliet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, it's hilarious. I mean,
my Lord.
There's definitely some language in there, I think, if anyone's concerned.
There very much is.
There definitely is, yeah. But, I mean, and part of me, too, is, like, I feel like there are a few, like, just, like, side jokes that only us English majors from
it's very possible, yeah.
But also, I think it's mostly very enjoyable for everyone, even though they claim that it's only for Taylor.
It's just for Taylor.
It's just for Taylor. Everyone else can go away. But I love that so much.
I was crying when they said that. That was so funny.
Oh man, I love it. I love everything about it.
There's like a weird kind of situation that can be a bit of a problem where, like, if I don't think I've ever had this happen to me, but like if one of my friends was doing something really creative and fun and interesting, but it wasn't terribly good, there's the possibility that I would be like, I want to support them, but it's like it could be better. This could not be further from that. It's so much funnier than I was ready for.
It's already perfect. Yeah.
I was incredulous. Like, it's really good.
I have no critiques. I just thoroughly enjoyed every single second of that podcast episode.
They're literally just talking about Romeo and Juliet, like the play itself, and somehow they have the funniest things to say. I was very impressed.
And I'm so excited to hear their thoughts on all these screen adaptations.
Oh, yeah.
So if you like literature, if you like, movies, I hope you like movies because you're here listening to us talk about movies. Go give it a try, the English Corner. And I already told Sydney, I'm like, okay, you need to watch Romeo times Juliet, the anime.
Oh, shoot. Okay, that is a new one to me.
Oh, man. It is Romeo and Juliet, but anime. That's all I can say.
What?
And it's brilliant and hilarious and heart-wrenching. And, I mean, it's Romeo and Juliet. You get what you get.
Yeah.
But it's my favorite adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, actually.
Okay. Cool.
And I enjoyed it very much. That's because I'm not a huge fan of the play. I think there's better Shakespeare out there, and Romeo and Juliet is not on high on my list of favorite Shakespeares.
But, I think I get that, yeah.
But it's now, and I loved it listening to everyone else geek out about it. So the English Corner, anyway, I've spent way too long talking about that.
Right.
But side note, also listen to Jamie's podcast, Knight's Quest.
Knight's Quest.
Because it's also hilarious.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, man. Definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, getting to like the meat of what we're talking about. Jamie, what have you been watching recently?
Well, I am so glad you asked about that because the most important thing recently has definitely been the miniseries that was originally Cartoon Network. The most recent season is exclusively on HBO Max, Infinity Train. This is something that I had been hearing a lot about like a month ago, I think. And I'd been seeing clips from it like pop up on YouTube and stuff, and there was just this buzz, and people were talking more and more about it, and people were especially talking about, because the third season had just aired, so people were really getting excited about that, and I figured I would give it a shot. And what was wild is that I realized I did get to see when this was still just a pitch, because I was like, oh, I remember this. This was in like 2016. There was this short, like 8-minute long, weird little short film called Infinity Train. And like it was on YouTube and it kind of made a buzz for a little while. And I remembered that. And now like it has become this much bigger, much more fully realized, really impressive show.
Yeah. I've only seen the first season, but I remember it when it was that pilot episode on YouTube and everyone was obsessed. And then it finally got a season and it was so well done.
Oh my goodness.
It's not my favorite short series that Cartoon Network has come out with, but it was definitely like Cartoon Network, brilliance. And I'm really interested to see the next 2 seasons because, like, I've heard it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. This show, honestly, it and I try not to say this too much because I don't want to say it so often that it doesn't mean anything anymore. It reminds me of Gravity Falls. And I'm completely serious when I say that.
Wow.
Like, not the art style exactly. That actually makes me think a lot more of We Bare Bears, a different Cartoon Network show. But the story and the sort of weirdnesses that like come out of the plot and the way it's written and the characters, those to me are very reminiscent of Gravity Falls in all the best ways. The first season, I would say, because each season is basically the length of a movie. They're each 10 episodes, but they're each only 11 minutes. So the first season, in my opinion, and again, we're going for spoiler free, so I want to be careful. The first season, I would say, is great. I really, really liked the story they set up. I loved the main character. I loved the supporting characters and this weird setting of this crazy giant train where, like, almost anything can happen, it feels like. It's a super fun story, and I really love how they did it. The second season, it takes some chances. It really takes things in a different direction, and because it's an anthology series, I don't consider this a spoiler. It's a totally separate group of characters. So kind of like no other anthology series is coming to mind, but whatever. That's just the way it's set up, in that each season I think they call them books, like book 1, book 2, book 3. Each one is a separate story, right? So the second season is a totally different thing, but it's also about the train, and they really take things in some different directions, and I was very impressed, and I thought it was so fun to watch and so weird and so interesting, and I was just a big fan. The third season, I have thought about this because I knew I was going to talk about this on this episode for Whatcha. The third season, I don't want to say anything at all because, well, one, because I have asked you if potentially there is the chance of doing a future Fanimated episode about this, because obviously I want to talk more about it.
Yeah, there's a huge chance because I definitely want to talk with you about it for sure.
You guys, if you're considering watching this show, the third season, I finished watching it and it genuinely rattled me so much that, like, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it, even though it is now like 3 weeks later. I'm really trying not to be hyperbolic right now. I really don't think I can be. It was that special. And again, I do not want to say anything more about it. Like, yeah, no, Infinity Train is something else, man. I'll talk about the first 2 seasons as much as you want. I'll talk about the goofiness, the characters, the style. Yeah, no, I really don't have anything but good things to say about that. Really, truly something else. And it's obviously it's been going strong for a while. I only just now finally caught up to it. So.
Right. I mean, I watched the first season when it first came out, and now there's 2 more, and I haven't gotten to it at all. It's definitely high on my watch list, and I've gotten several recommendations from listeners about it, and so I know it's one that I need to, like, boost up towards the top of my watch list and really get to. But hearing you talk about it definitely makes me want to get to it even more.
Good.
I mean, if anything, 1-1 is my favorite character,
1-1.
and like,
oh my goodness,
I love him so much. The duality, that's this little robot, for those who don't know, this little robot who, like, can split in 2, and so it's called 1-1 because there's 1 and 1. And one half of him is very positive and upbeat and outgoing, and the other half is very, I mean, just like, we're all gonna die.
Yes, that is 100% his personality. Yeah.
And I love him so much. So anyway, the Infinity Train, we will definitely be talking about it on a future episode.
Good.
Because, I mean, I have enough to say with the first season. I can't imagine how much material we'll have to geek out about for the second. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's something. I love the second season. I think that'll be a lot. I think you'll really like that. That was it's a super fun idea. The setup is fantastic.
I'm looking forward to it. Well, I definitely want to make sure I talk about a series that Emma and I watched when we were together. And we actually didn't end up talking about it on our Whatcha Watchin' a couple of weeks ago. But we binge watched all of The Promised Neverland.
Ooh, okay.
And let me just tell you right now. Okay, I watched it when it was first coming out earlier this year. So I was watching it weekly, and oh man, it is a whole different experience being able to watch it all at once because the cliffhangers, man.
Ooh, okay.
But rewatching it, I was like, yeah, this is one of my favorite shows.
Good.
Like,
oh,
it
man.
it is, some people will say it's a horror. I would disagree. I think the first episode is horror-ish.
Okay.
But most importantly, this is a thriller.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's keeping you on the edge of your seat. There are heart-pounding moments.
Right.
There are definitely scary moments. But it's not scary because it's scary because of the threat of what looms above. The basic premise is there are these children who are raised in an orphanage, and they come to find out that this orphanage is not this perfect place.
Yeah.
But instead of being shipped out to loving homes, these children are being shipped out to be I hate to even say it.
You don't have to. So spoiler free?
I guess it's
or is this early enough that it's not really a spoiler?
This is the basic premise. This is like
gotcha,
the first
gotcha,
episode.
Okay. Never mind then. Yep.
But you know what? Just because I can't say it, I won't.
Oh, okay.
I'll just say this loving orphanage home is not what you think it is.
I'll just say everything is fine, and they all have nice families, and nothing bad happens.
And nothing bad happens at all. But these children have to outsmart and outwit other characters in order to survive. And it's absolutely insane. It's like a psychological thriller. They have to they are playing this. And I love shows like this that are just like, they have to play this game and like get out and like, you know, there's all these like factors and just like things come out of nowhere. And it's just like twists and turns and plot developments and blah. Yeah. And I love it so much. And I love these characters. I love this crazy world. I mean, there are always questions that you want to be answered, you know, like there are always things and you're just rooting for these kids. That's, you know, it's like the best premise because it's all about these like orphans, right? And of course you just want the orphans to like win, you know? Of course. Yeah. So I highly recommend it. The entire English dub is available on Netflix right now. And it's 12 episodes. I mean, we watched it all in a weekend. Like, it took no time at all. Yeah. Okay. Especially when it's like, it ends cliffhanger and you're like, that's the end of the episode already? Oh my gosh, next episode. Because every single episode ends with a cliffhanger. So I just wanted to mention that a little bit, let people know about it. Definitely check it out. I will be talking about it on the podcast at some point, probably not anytime super soon. But the the second season is coming out in January, and I cannot wait to be on the edge of my seat for another like 12 weeks.
I actually didn't know there was going to be a second season. That's awesome. This is a show I've only heard about. So that's pretty exciting, not gonna lie.
Yeah, everyone needs to watch it.
Cool.
What else have you been watching, Jamie?
Yeah. This is randomly very specific, but surprisingly some Pokemon stuff.
Cool.
One thing, this was a little while ago, but obviously with how, you know, everything is going on, so there isn't like a ton of stuff to go out and do. So there was an evening like a couple weeks ago where me and my boyfriend sat down and blasted through like 3 of the Pokemon movies in one evening.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And it was really fun. It was really wild to go back and see the animation style of the Pokemon movies, especially some of the earlier ones, because these were like let me think. 2 of them I very vaguely remembered from when I was a kid, and the third one I had never seen. But I'm trying to think of how to describe this. The animation of the Pokemon movies is not the same as the animation of the Pokemon TV show. And because all of the movies are like specifically about the biggest and most powerful, craziest Pokemon, right? The legendaries, quote unquote. Because of that, there's always all this just bat crazy, like insane fight, lights in the sky, explosions, like crazy stuff going on in every movie, right? So, and like Pokemon is something I haven't watched any media of it in quite a while, so it was really wild to go back to that. One of the movies, I think it was the one with Deoxys, for anyone who's really familiar with Pokemon out there. The movie has the tone of like a post-apocalypse. Like, they're in this city and it gets like cut out from the outside world by this huge barrier. So I've never seen a Pokemon movie where the characters are like, we have to ration our food and we have to make sure it's safe before we go outside.
Oh, wow. Like, that's intense.
It's crazy. There's like robots patrolling the streets and stuff.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So strange for a Pokemon movie, but it was really fun to watch. I don't mean to imply that it's super dark and gritty, because it's really not. But
it's Pokemon.
Right, it's Pokemon. But it is very funny that it has some of those crazy, like, Escape from New York style elements. It's just that was really wild. That was super fun.
Oh my gosh,
and the other reason I brought up Pokemon is because and this I can more specifically talk about animation for this one. The Pokemon Company, just like I think this week, put out this music video. It's only like 3 minutes. Have you seen this?
Yes, I've seen this.
My gosh.
And I love it so much.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you mentioned it. No, because here's the thing. I saw it and I was like, this looks beautiful. I'm not a huge Pokemon fan, but you know who?
Right.
I'm a huge fan of Bump Up Chicken, and that's the artist that did. Yes, because they've done like anime openings and stuff before, and I love their music, and it's just like, and I was like, I mean, a great animation and Bump Up Chicken combo. Yeah. It's so good. Oh my gosh.
Yes. For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, they basically, Pokemon as a company, they put out this music video as like, not even for something specific. It's more for like just kind of Pokemon in general. So like there's a part of this video where it's suddenly showing you like glimpses of all of these famous characters from back in the 90s even, from some of the movies, from a bunch of the games, and the whole thing is like connected with this these 2 characters, a boy and a girl, who just kind of like go through the whole video, and it's like their journey, but you're also being reminded of all this other stuff, and the animation is incredible. It's so good for only having like
Beautiful.
3 minutes, and there's so much going on, and like going through the comments was such a journey, because just about everyone is basically just saying like, I'm crying right now. Like,
yes.
Suddenly all the nostalgia comes back, and like it's I should throw out, the song is called Acacia, Acacia, which I think is like a kind of tree. I just didn't want to forget to say that specifically so you can find it.
And if you search like Bump Up Chicken Gotcha,
it'll pop up immediately. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good point. It's just something. It's something else. I've been watching that a whole ton this week.
And I love it. And I like can't quite connect with that same nostalgic feeling other people get, and then they cry about it. But I still am like, I can understand where that's coming from, because it's beautiful and it's going through all of this like nostalgic content. And I mean, what a random but perfect and wonderful and beautiful thing to happen, you know? Like, this is just what we want, you know? You know, a side note, I'm almost tempted to someday, and I've thought about this before, doing a full-length episode just talking about animated music videos, because there are so many really good animated music videos that don't have anything to do with, like, you know, anime or Pokemon or anything, you know.
Right, they're not based on some other thing. Okay.
But are just so good. So, you know, if people want that, email me and let me know at Fanmade Podcast, or Bug me on social media at Fanmade Podcast. We'll I'll maybe make that happen someday. I don't know.
Make your voice heard, listeners.
Let me know what you want. Well, for my last thing, I can't decide because you know me, I'm watching too many things at once.
Right. Yeah.
I'm still slowly making through ReZero because I'm behind on the newest episodes because this second season is, for those who don't know, is back after 4 years. And it's heavy. The show is a heavy show. So sometimes I'm not feeling up for it if you catch when I'm laying down because that's oofda. It's basically, the premise is that it's an isekai. This kid falls into another world, and the power that he gains is that every time he dies, he gets reset back to a previous save point, quote unquote. And so there's just a lot of death, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful anime. You can hear Jake and I talk about it on the show. We have a whole episode about it. But because it's really digging deep into this character of Subaru and digging into oh man, I've just watched some of the recent episodes of season 2 and I'm like, oh my goodness, they went there and they did this and it's beautiful, but it's also painful and perfect and wow, it's just so good. It's so good, guys.
Yeah, no, I get that though.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, so there's that one. And let me just, on the opposite side, okay, if you're not ready for ReZero, guys, let me give you one more recommendation that is more positive than the other 2 anime that I've been talking about this episode. Have you watched Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?
No, I have not. Excuse me?
It's the longest title ever, but it is so good. So I watched this quite a long time ago. I would say a year or more ago I started, but season 3 is just airing right now. And the basic premise, let me see. It's this world. It's this fantasy world that runs on video game mechanics. Okay, your typical anime fare.
Okay.
So there's the dungeon, which is just like you'd think it would be in an RPG, right?
Right. You
battle monsters, and the monsters drop these crystal ore things that can be made into magical items or sold for profit. And of course there are adventurers who go through the dungeon.
Right.
But to go through the dungeon, you have to be associated with a familia. And basically what's happened in this world, it's basically you have to be part of what do they call it? A clan.
A guild.
A guild, thank you. Yes. Basically you have to be part of a guild to go through these dungeons. And but every familia is basically connected to a god or goddess of Greek mythology.
Whoa, okay.
So in this fantasy universe, the gods came down from heaven, or most of them did, to be a part of the human world. And so they're still immortal, but they have to live like a human, basically. And so a god or goddess can give a person basically the ability to go through a dungeon.
Cool.
So this is the setup. This is this world, right? And in this world, there are 2 misfits. There's Hestia, who's a goddess, who doesn't have anyone as part of her familia.
Right.
And then there is Belle, the cute, adorable little adventurer who just wants to, be a hero. And Belle becomes the only member of the Hestia familia.
Excellent.
And then they go through this journey, of course, of going through the dungeon, Belle is becoming a hero, and they grow the familia, and it's so fun. It's just it's lighthearted. It's just, and I should say Belle's other motivation is that his grandfather told him the best place to pick up girls is in a dungeon.
I was about to say I was waiting for that to come back. Because while you were talking, there were 4 different times that I remembered the name of the show and I started laughing again.
Because it's so fun.
It's
gosh.
Really incredible.
It's the longest name. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon?
It's the title of a Fall Out Boy song or something, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, of course, his grandfather tells him the story of like, oh, you need to go and like save a girl from a monster and sweep her off her feet, right?
Right.
The typical thing, right? But what's brilliant is that when Belle goes into the dungeon, it happens, but in reverse.
Oh, a girl saves him?
A girl saves him and sweeps him off his feet.
Excellent.
Oh,
perfect.
I mean, guys, it is just the most perfect, pure, just joyful anime.
Oh my goodness.
I cannot recommend it enough. It's just ridiculous and fun, and you just care about these characters so much. And I highly recommend it to anybody who just needs something fun and lighthearted.
Oh man, that sounds incredible. I need to watch this now.
Yes, please do. Please do. Anything else that you want to mention?
Talking about anime made me think of another one I could quick talk about here. It was from months ago. It wasn't super recent. But there is an anime called Given that I really, really love a lot, and I would love to share with people because it's because it is one of the only it's one of the only ones I know of that's gotten a little bit mainstream that people have heard about. That's actually trying to think of the best way to describe this, but for lack of a better word, it's gay. So I was a big fan. There aren't a ton that I know of. Like obviously Yuri on Ice was a huge deal. And I had never heard of anything like that before that. But
it was huge.
Earlier this year, I finally was made aware of something else that could fill a similar role. And I was like, I better give this show a shot. And it's delightful. It's only like 10 episodes. It's just about this guy in a band. And they're kind of struggling because being in a band is difficult, obviously. And he just meets this other guy at his school. He meets the reason he meets this guy is because this other guy fell asleep in his usual napping spot. And he's like, hey, you need to leave. That's my napping spot. And that is the beginning of this relationship.
Oh my goodness.
And it's
that makes
just
me so happy.
It's my favorite. It's so good, you guys. It's so weird and fun and bizarre. Like, I would have been perfectly happy if it was like just a pretty okay story about two guys. Like, I would have been fine with that. But it's a really good story. Like, I was genuinely I was really intrigued. Like, what's gonna happen next? How are these relationships gonna play out? Like, what is gonna happen with their band and stuff? And it makes you really care about everyone, not just the two of them, but like all the characters. And man, I was so sad when when the season came to an end. I don't believe there's gonna be more seasons. There is gonna be a movie pretty soon here, but it's almost kind of like a spin-off thing about different characters. So that story is like pretty much completely closed, and that's fine because it had a great ending. But it is still kind of a shame that it was such a short experience. But all the same, I absolutely loved it, and it was super fun to watch. And yeah, I can't recommend that enough. It's just called Given, Given.
What a good recommendation. I just found it on Crunchyroll, and I've added it to my watch list.
Cool. Oh, man. Okay.
All right. Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining me, Jamie. This was a blast. And now I've got lots more things to add to my watch list and to watch.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, I hope everyone else does too. And you can leave us a rating and review telling us what we should watch next. You can email us at fanimatedpodcast@gmail.com. Reach us on Instagram and Facebook at fanimatedpodcast. Let us know what you're watching. Let us know what we should be watching, or if we mentioned anything that you have been watching too. Let us know your thoughts, because I love to geek out about animation with everybody.
Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? Was that right?
Yes.
Is it wrong to try to... it's going to be hard to remember because there's like 20 words.
I know. Even if you just type in like pick up girls dungeon, like I'm pretty sure you'll find it. Or
yeah.
Oh man, guys.
Excellent.
Guys, it's so good. Oh man. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a super awesome day.
Yeah.
Whenever you're listening to this, I hope your day is awesome. And let's see what else. The music is provided by Purple Planet Music. The art is done by myself. You can find my art on Instagram at Canderdraw, KANDERDRAW. You can find Jamie at Nice Quest, KNIGHTI.
Yep.
I don't usually spell that one out.
It's just KNIGHT''S and then the regular spelling of the word quest. It is a fantasy, comedy, improvised role-playing podcast, a little bit like D&D, but not exactly. There's NSFW language in it, so be careful of that. It's super fun. We have a great time. I really love it. We improvise this whole story, and it's super fun. So check it out if you like fantasy and comedy and that whole situation. Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. And yeah, we'll talk to you next week. The patrons on patreon.com/fanimated have voted on a spooky story to discuss.
Oh, perfect.
So we will be back next week with some Halloween shenanigans.
Oh my goodness.
Until then, thanks again, Jamie, for joining, and
Absolutely.
We'll talk to you all later.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. I just opened my water bottle and it made such a loud sound. I'm genuinely worried it picked up on the audio.
If it did, then bonus sound effects today.
Right.